Okay, very good afternoon to all of you. So, uh, as a part of our online lectures, I have already completed unit number 1. And if you have any questions in unit number 1, you please raise our questions in Google Classroom. I will come across with the Google Classroom by tomorrow onwards. Today also, you please communicate with me through Google Classroom. I will give answers, necessary answers. And I have promised you to have your material for first unit yesterday itself, but I am unable to give or post the material to Google Classrooms. So, so volume is already increased. It is already increased. It is. I am with full volume only. Okay. However, yeah. Now it is okay. Yeah. So today I will post the first unit material, complete material, which is required to you in terms of your examination point of view or your learning point of view, however, whatever it may be. Now, today we would like to concentrate on unit number 2. This is unit number 2, ER model, relational calculus, and so on and so forth. These are different types of concepts which are available with this particular thing. So if you observe this particular unit, this unit is a peculiar unit to you because approximately some 20 marks will come from this particular unit itself. Remaining units will not be covered with these many marks. This unit has 20 marks as far as your final examinations are concerned. Whereas if you consider in the point of view of a subject learning point of view, so it is very important because after completion of your BTech, I don't know how many people will turn to industry. If you go ahead with industry, so this unit will play a vital role to you, play a vital role with you in our industry, I mean IT industry. So let me start the work with SQL first, structured query language first. Afterwards, after completion of structured query language, then I will come back at this particular ER model, because without knowing structured query language or without knowing how SQL is being operated, you could not know what is attribute, what is entity, what is relationship, and what is relational calculus, and what is key constraints, otherwise a foreign key. All these things are not supposed to be known to you. If I would give you in such a way that you will not understand. Of course, people could understand what I'm speaking, but you could not imagine what I'm speaking. So that is the problem with this particular unit. So I will continue with SQL first. I will finish off SQL up to some 10%, probably today, tomorrow, and day after tomorrow. These 3 classes, I would like to concentrate on SQL for up to some extent, up to these constraints. After completion of constraints, I'll come back this particular unit and I will explain you what exactly. And I'm also expecting all of you that you please take the initiation to have some to procure some computer, or laptop, something else, however, and try to install SQL in your. I'll show how to install SQL and everything. I'll give you complete information, but practice is very important in terms of SQL. Of course, Unix. Of course, it could also have some kind of practice, but rather Unix, SQL do have much practice is required. Without practice, you could not remember even single point what I'm supposed to teach you. And meanwhile, I'm also give some assignments to you after completion of SQL for some extent, and you may be perform those assignments and have to post everything to me in Google Classroom, so that I have to evaluate, and I have to evaluate them and give it to you back through Google Classroom only. You may be download and you have to look forward where exactly you did mistake, something like that. However, this is the specification for the class which is going to happen for the coming 3 days or 4 days. So let me start with SQL. Before going to start our SQL class, so let us have some brief description regarding to SQL here. So SQL is a structured query language. This language was invented by many companies. This is the first language which was invented by EF Code. Edward Frank Code is the person who proposed 12 rules. Okay, probably these rules will be there in our unit number 4. So 12 rules have been proposed, and based on the 12 rules, structured query language was developed by Oracle Corporation in the year 1973. Okay, it was developed in 1973, and so followed by this language is only the language which is used to extract the data from database management systems. Okay, if you consider whatever the database management system you may be taken into consideration, so at a low level, so SQL, structured query language, is the language which it could be used. So we do have many application packages which are used to communicate with the database. So something like Oracle, Postgres, or Prostage, or MongoDB, SQL Server, MS Access. You could name them. NoSQL, and then SQL Server. You could name as many number of packages. Out of all those packages, so only one specific language which is being used. That language is structured query language. What I am supposed to discuss here, everything is same, but some number of what do you call structured query languages, I mean DBMS packages are there. They are satisfying object orientation, so that light structure will be, whatever the usage of syntax will be, very teeny syntax will be gets changed, and remaining everything is same. Whatever the syntax I am supposed to discuss with you in future for four classes, upcoming 4 classes, everything is same. Okay, and then followed by, so basic features are, it is basically non-procedural language. It is basically non-procedural language. So if you consider C, C++, Java, Python, and XYZ, some kind of languages, if you want to get some kind of output, you have to specify what you are supposed to do. So if anybody has given some kind of get the information from a file and manipulate it and display what is the output of that particular file. If this thing will be asked to you, then what you are exactly supposed to do is you just create a file and have to store the data into the file and read the data from the file, and you are also expected to perform some kind of operations on the file. Finally, you must give the output to the user. So this much procedure must be there. So while working with any kind of languages, it is also a language, but it doesn't have any specific procedure. Specific procedure in the sense you could not perform or you could not write any number of programs here. So what exactly you require, you just ask a question and everything will be looked forward by the database engine. You are not supposed to do anything. You just ask a question. Based on the question, database engine will be procure the data from database and it will be sent to you. Thereby, you could work based on the data which is fetched from the databases. Database management system. So that is why it is a non-procedural language. Whatever the specification you may be write, everything should be in single line, not exactly. So unlike your programming language, it must be available in single line. Only single line you have to write each and everything what exactly required. So that is why it is non-procedural language. Then followed by, so previously we do have some number of database applications are there. So that is Fox Pro and DBS 3+, some Lotus nodes. These are the 3 different types of so database applications. They haven't used any SQL over there. So they have developed their own procedures. So thereby the process will be done one record by record, and so on. So it will take one record and necessary condition will be checked on the record, and it will be, if it is okay, that will be thrown to user. Otherwise, it will be put back to the database. Unlike that, it could be done. So process the number of records at a time. So these number of records will be also called as a cluster. Okay. So number of records are supposed to be processed at a time, so that the time will be saved by this particular structured query language. And the structured query language will gives you guarantee regarding to consistency, because this structured query language will be maintains. So a repository, something like this repository in the sense a server has been maintained. Through this server, many number of users are supposed to be communicate, and because of having a repository system, so it must be always consistent. A database, let me say a student database will be there. Student database will be available with this repository as a single copy. Only one copy is available. This copy will be shared by a number of people. So that is why data will be always consistent. So it must be, in future we will come across everything. So it must be, so give some kind of guarantee, some kind of consistency. Then it's also guarantees to reduce, not exactly completely reduction, but to reduce the data redundancy. So only one thing you need to remember, it does have a repository, a centralized location will be there. If you store your database in centralized location as single copy, obviously redundancy will be, so up to some extent redundancy will be reduced. So in that way, so based on the techniques which you are supposed to use in future, so use of those techniques, data will be, the redundancy will be reduced to some more extent. So however, it will be guarantees you that so redundancy could not be there here. It is not supposed to reduce completely, but it could be reduced more and more extent possible here. Then the structured query language, as per the suggestions given by EF Core, the structured query language was made up of 4 different kinds of sub-languages. Number 1, data definition language, which is called as DDL, data manipulation language, which is called as DML, and transaction control language, so which is called as TCL. So followed by data control language, which is called by DCL. So here data definition language, we do have so 4 commands, 4 different types of commands are available. Number 1, create. Number 2, so drop. Second one is drop, and the third one is alter, and the fourth one is truncate. These are the truncate. These are the 4 different types of commands which are existed in terms of DDL, data definition language. And in terms of data manipulation language, here also 4 commands available. So select, first one is select, and second one is insert. Insert is next command, and third one is delete, and the fourth one is update. So this is the 4th command which is available. So these 4 are comes under data manipulation language. TCL does have only 3 different types of languages are there. So first one is the commit. These are very important to be remember. So save point, and then followed by, so last and final is rollback. These are 3. And DCL does have only two commands are available in DCL. That is grant and revoke. Look at this. Look at how many number of commands are there here with SQL. 4 plus 4 plus 3 plus 4, 2. So 9 plus 5, that is 14 commands are available if you are thorough about these 14 commands, your SQL is gets completed. That's all. Okay. So it's very easy to learn SQL. Many people will worry about this SQL. Of course, if you consider any kind of language, there must have some, there must be some confusion. So ambiguity will be there while talking something about any language. Such kind of ambiguity here also. But the number of commands are very less when compared to all other languages. So all these are supposed to be used to be taken into consideration. If you learn everything, so your SQL is gets okay. And out of all these commands, this command is playing a vital role, because so nowadays people are expecting only reports, how data you are supposed to load into the database, how the data will be placed into this database, and which format you are placing, and are there, have you used any kind of access methods. These are immaterial for the end users. How fast or how slow or how lazy you are using your data, you are storing your data, you are retrieving your data is immaterial. Always people are looking forward, what is the report? If you withdraw money from the ATM, so at what time you have withdraw and how much amount of money you have withdraw, and what is the ATM, what is the ATM ID, from which place you did. This report is required by the users. If you go and purchase some goods from any supermarket, so finally you may be asked some kind of bill. That bill must be in the form of a report. So that report is required. So where exactly you have to store regarding to each and everything, that is immaterial for one particular end user. So that is not important for him. So how you have to store the data is not important. So to get the reports, you are expected to use. So these are the, so this is the command where exactly it could be play a vital role. So you need to learn this one very crucially. Thereafter, you will be master of this one. So then followed by, so actually I have prepared only this much. So however, I'll give you some more extra information here. So followed by what exactly you are expected to so have here in the sense. So consider the data, structured query language is a so specific language, so that because of it is a language, so you must have some set of operations. Those operations will be, let me say, just wait. Yeah, those operations will be considered as so what is the data set you are supposed to use as far as the language is concerned. Are there any specific data types? Are there any specific functions you are supposed to use? Are there any other issues you are supposed to incorporate here? Yes, we would like to discuss each and everything. Before going to take that one, first one is, number one is, so what is the data set? What is the data set? Data set will be, you know very well, so it is one of the tokens. The token will be, so all lowercase letters are accepted. Similarly, uppercase letters also gets accepted. A to Z are accepted, and 0 to 9 are also accepted, and all many number of special characters are accepted except double quote. Double quote is not supposed to be accepted. Of course, it is also be accepted, but only in one particular situation it is being accepted. So remaining all other places, it could not be accepted here. Okay, except double quotes, everything is gets accepted here. So this is the data set which is going to be used by the structured query language. Okay, then followed by second point which we have to consider is so after data set, are there any data types which are used to specify here? Yes, we have data types. Data types are this many data types. Okay, let me give you number one. Okay, number A. So number is one data type. B. Okay, just wait for a while. It will continue. Yes. Okay. B. Character. Next one is VRCHR2. Then integer. Then followed by float. Followed by long raw RAW. Then long raw RAW. And then very important, that is date. Okay, few more also there. They are not supposed to utilize bias because in SQL prompt it is not supposed to be used. So these are the data types which are used for us. Let me explain each and every data type here. So it is basically, it is a database application, how this could be used here in the sense. Let me explain to you to have some kind of idea regarding to this. Okay. So first of all, number, how this number will be. Number will be, this particular data type will be, it is a fixed point floating value kind of number. Fixed point floating. So what do you mean by fixed point float here? So what does it means? Fixed point float in the sense, let us consider it has been, so you have been defined a particular number and which could be occupy something like this. Number will be defined something like this. Some column name followed by number. Let me write a small in case, small letters. So small letters in the sense aggregate form, NUM. Actually, you need to write NUMBR. Of course, let me write. Okay, here like this. So you could able to write some precision value followed by comma scale value, comma scale value. This is the way. This is the way you are expected to write. So what does it means? What does it means in the sense? What does it means in the sense? Let me show you. Let me show you. Let me eliminate this one for a while. So how it could be mentioned here is mentioning of this one will be took place something like this. So any column name, what do you mean by column name? Let me explain after some time. So column name followed by number of, so precision, square bracket, comma, P, yes, so square bracket close, something like this. This is the way of mentioning or declaring any number type here. So here, what do you mean by precision and what do you mean by scale here? So meaning of precision and meaning of scale will be, let me explain for a while, after a while. So this could be based on this one, you could be, so or declare something like this. So student STUD underscore ID number, you can specify something like this. This is eligible specification of your number data type. Then followed by EMP ID is also, so one more eligible point of view. Let me say number of some 5, something like this. So EMP underscore salary. So it's also one more thing which is being accepted, some 11 comma 2. So look at this. Here we have 3 different types of so declarations. These 3 will be possible. These 3 will be possible here. Let me explain this one. Now, let me explain this one here. So if you specify something like this, so it could be default occupation will be occurred here. What do you mean by default occupation here? What is the default value for scale and what is the default value for precision and scale? Default value for precision will be 38 bytes, 38 spaces or 38 numbers will be gets accepted. Out of this 38, so 20 will be considered as scale value. Then what does it mean? Let me explain, then you could come across this one. So for example, this is the total size where exactly so occupied this 38 bytes, for example, for default kind of values. So this is the total space which is being occupied 38 bytes. Bytes in the sense, first byte, second byte, and so on and so forth, to 38th byte, 37th byte, something like this. Okay, and so on and so forth. So out of these, 20 bytes will be taken for scale in the sense from right to left, it has been calculated 20 bytes. For example, 20 bytes will be come across somewhere else here. This is the 20th byte from the right away from the right to left. This is 20th bytes. So from here to here, this will be used for scale, and the entire thing will be used for precision. Okay. And whereby you could see from here to here, from right away from the first byte to, so 19 bytes will be used as integer part, okay, integer part. So actually a decimal number will be combination of integer and exponent actually, okay. So integer part and exponent part will be there. Exponent in the sense decimal part. So here it could be, so from here, this is the 20th location right away from calculating the digits right away from this area, this side to this side. This is the 20th. And if you go ahead, 18 more digits are available. These 18 more digits are supposed to be, these digits are supposed to be used for integer part. And these 20 bytes will be used for scale part here. So you could expect where exactly the decimal place of this particular number. Okay, you could expect where exactly this decimal place of this particular number. Let me take one specific example here. If you define any column name, number of some 5 comma 2, for example, number of 5 comma 2 will be defined. So total number of bytes will be 5. Out of this, let me say 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. Out of this, so from this place to forward direction, it has been used scale. So these 2 bytes will be scale, and these 3 bytes will be so integer part. So that is the meaning here. These 3 will be integer part. These 2 will be scale part, and the entire thing will be called as precision. This is precision, complete precision. So how could you store the data in the sense? So 375, so 0.02. This is the way you are supposed to store. Or 5.25. This is the point you have to store here. Otherwise, so 25.76. You could see the decimal place will be available just before 2 points. I mean 2 decimal places. So that is why it is called as a fixed point floating value. You could suspect where exactly the decimal place will be. Decimal place will be existed just before 2 places only. So that is why it is called as a fixed point. Scale value will be very huge enough, and you have to define integer part will be big enough, and scale value will be very small enough when you have to define this particular number. And you need to take one particular point here. Always you have to define your number and precision and the scale here. Precision must always greater than the scale. You must follow this particular rule. Precision must be always greater than scale. You must follow this particular rule. Okay. However, if you consider this student ID, the student ID could be occupies 30 bytes. Out of this 30 bytes, 20 bytes will be taken as so scale part, that is integer part, decimal part. So therefore, this student will be considered as fixed point float value. This is considered as fixed point float. And here employee ID, it has been occupied only 5 bytes of memory, and there is no scale part here. So because of not having scale part, this particular point will be, this employee ID will be considered as an integer. It is an integer. Now employee salary, it has been occupied so 11 bytes as a precision. Out of 11 bytes, 2 bytes will be called as a scale. So it's also fixed point float value. Okay. So in these 3 ways, you could explain or you could declare your number variable. You need to remember only one thing here. Precision value must always, P must be always greater than S, at least by 1 byte, at least by 1 byte. 11 comma 10, it is okay. 11 comma 11, no, it is not possible. 11 comma 12, it is never possible. Okay. So if you want to define number of 11 comma 10, it is okay. 10 bytes will be allocated for scale, and only 1 byte will be taken for integer part. There is no problem at all. Okay. But number of 11 comma 11, it doesn't possible. It could not be accepted. Okay. Because always a precision must be greater than so scale here. It must be there. So therefore, you need to take care while defining any kind of number here. So these kind of numbers will be used by us while defining any kind of a table in terms of defining any table in SQL. Then followed by var char2 and character. Both are used to store character kind of data. Whereas it could be store only numbers. It could be store, both are used to character data type. Then why these 2 types are there here? So this character data type is always used to store fixed length characters. I'll show you by tomorrow, because in my system also I don't have any Oracle at this moment. So tomorrow I'll load it into my system. I'll show you if you declare a particular column with character and a particular column with varchar, what are the differences? I'll show you. So it is a fixed size, fixed in size, whereas variable, the name is suggested, it is in variable size. Okay. So these two are also very much important to be taken into consideration while you have to define the database or tables here, and these tables are playing a vital role in databases here. So for today, I'd like to stop here. So tomorrow I shall continue because I'm running out of time. So I do have only 4 minutes with me. So I'm running out of time. I'm also feeling somewhat headache today. So tomorrow I shall continue, and I'll give you each and everything hands-on. I'll load SQL into my system. I'll give you everything using hands-on. Okay.